If you're just joining us, I've just admitted several of you guys. This is Marcia Hall from the International Nanny Association. Hope you guys are well. Wherever you're coming from, it's very early where I am. And I'm really excited to be here with you, hoping to meet up with some of our friends from the other side of the world. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Marcia Hall. Again, the Executive Director of the INA. I'm kind of here just to kind of keep things moving. We've got a couple of our board members, Emily Rowland. You want to say hi, Emily?
Hello.
And Rachael Lubin is here too. She'll be on in just a minute. We've also got our awesome Ambassador Program Chair, Cate Matijevich.
Hi, everyone.
We're excited to see you. So we're just going to start out, since this is our first Zoom town hall like this. It's going to be a bit, obviously the format's going to be very different. We will be introducing ourselves, and then we're going to let each of you guys introduce yourselves. Just as a reminder, this is being recorded so that people can see it later and get the information that you guys ask questions about and stuff like that. We're going to ask you guys to introduce yourself. Just tell us your name, where you're from, what you do within the nanny industry. And then we got a little icebreaker question for you, which is, where was your last trip outside of your city or town, wherever it is that you live? Or if you haven't taken a trip lately and you have an upcoming trip that you want to share with us that you're excited about, let us know what that is too. So again, Marcia Hall. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I was a nanny for 15 years before I started staying home with my kiddos, my 3 kids. I own the nanny coaching team on top of being the executive director for the International Nanny Association. And my last trip, other than visiting my mom outside of my city, was to Arizona right before kind of COVID hit. So it was really nice to see her. Let's see, Emily, do you want to go ahead and share next?
Sure. So I'm Emily Rowland. I just came on the board not very long ago. And my last trip that I went on was to Las Vegas in February, right before COVID hit. So yeah, most people know me from the Nanny Collaborative. So it's a bit of a switch, but nice to be here and good to see you all.
Rachael, you want to go ahead and say hi to everybody?
Sure. Hi, I'm Rachael Lubin. I currently serve as secretary for the INA. I've been on the board for 3 years. This is coming up on my 4th year now. I also typically work with the conference committee to plan the nanny track. So if you come to conference, the speakers that speak to nannies primarily, I help source them and help get them to conference. My last trip was also in February, and I went to Southern California. I live in Houston, and so I flew to Southern California to see my brother and a few friends out there.
Awesome. And it looks like Helen is able to join us too. She wasn't sure she was going to be able to be on, so I'll let her introduce herself next.
Hi, I'm Helen McCarthy, and I live in London. And I have children playing down because I am at work, so I will introduce myself. I chair the service pin committee, and round 2 of the service pins for the first time ever has just opened. So we hope you all will put in for your service pins, whether you've done 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, but they go up in 5. So if somebody's got a 50-year one, that would be amazing. I'm going to go on mute and with my camera off because I am at work and the children are running around. So I don't want them to interrupt it.
Awesome that you could be here, Helen. Thank you for jumping on. Cate, why don't you introduce yourself next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cate Matijevich. I chair the Ambassador Program through the INA. I have been a nanny for a little over 15 years, and I live in the Chicagoland area. And the last trip I took was to Alabama for a golf tournament in November. So I am desperately needing to travel again, but I don't think we'll get there for a while. So yeah, looking forward to traveling again when everything is healthy and safe.
Awesome. So I'm going to just go in the order that I see people on my list here. Luis, why don't you introduce yourself next?
Me?
Luis, yes.
Oh, hi, it's 7 p.m. here in Melbourne, Australia. And firstly, are you guys really calling at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning here.
4 o'clock for me, yeah.
Well, now you know what it was like for me for years. So fantastic.
Yes.
And I really appreciate the effort. I'm actually better earlier in the day rather than later in the day. I'm tired today, but I've been in business for 32 years. I used to be on the board of INA a long, long time ago, and it seems like a long time ago. My last trip was to my 50th high school reunion, so do the maths. That was quite a long time ago, and that was to Tasmania, which is funny because that was my first plane trip. I hope it's not going to be my very last plane trip. So I'm delighted to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, I've got somebody named Carolyn Zutel. Are you on? Do you want to say hi? You don't have to. I just want everybody to be able to give a chance to say hi. Okay, so Carolyn, if you want to come, if you want to talk later, you're welcome to. I've got somebody named Dr. DJ Singe. Are you here? Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I'm audible.
Hi, would you like to let us know who you are, where you're from, what your role in the industry is, and then where was your last trip that you were outside of your city or town, or where do you have a trip coming up soon?
Okay, I'm an educator. I'm the director of the institutions, and we are into higher education. I'm from Chandigarh. It's a northern India city, a young modern city. I'm from India, and my association with the nannies or childcare program is just very recent. We last year only started a university vocational program for child caregivers. So I'm just learning about the whole trade of this field. So I hope it will be good interaction with you guys, and we can intercalate your experiences with our students. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Anna's on today. She's one of our ambassadors. Would you like to say hi? And I know you came in a little bit later, so we're just kind of giving our name, where we're from, what we do in the industry, and you can share a little bit about the ambassador program too if you want. And then our little icebreaker question is, where was your last trip outside your city or town, or do you have a trip coming up that you're excited about? Oh, Anna, let me see. You're on mute. Let me, you gotta unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah. And now?
There, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hello, good morning. I am Anna Feline. I'm a nanny in Switzerland, working here. I'm from Portugal, and I'm one of the ambassador team members. Well, my role, my role is I'm at work at the moment. You can see that I'm working around. So I don't know if I will be able to stay the whole meeting. So my next trip, it's what you were asking also.
Or if you had a trip recently that you know want to share with us, or if you have an upcoming one, either one.
Well, you know that I always loved to go to the year conferences from the INA. I went to Tucson and I loved it. And New Orleans, I loved it. It's always a great opportunity to be with you and meet other nannies. And yeah, I love and to know also the around, right?
Yeah.
I love New Orleans. It was amazing. Texan, we were more in the hotel, right, in the resort. So we were not, but we were also going out to this party that the nanny agency organized, right, for us. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
loved
talking
it.
about the Tucson, right? Yeah, that
Yeah,
was fun.
Tucson. Yeah, yeah, it was great fun. So I'm just supporting the now the what you plan to do, the chapter. I want to hear more. So yeah, maybe if really it's interesting, I could organize open a chapter in Switzerland.
Excellent.
But let's see. Yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have Cate talk about that in just a little bit.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Lauren. Lauren, you're on mute right now. Let me see. There we go.
So I'm from the UK, but I actually live in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I've been here on and off for about 8 years. I own a nanny agency called Holgate Nannies, and my last trip, I think, was actually to the nanny ball in New York last year.
Awesome. Yeah, we're hoping to see a lot of people there again this year. I know I've talked to Aline, who is now a board member too, and they're still planning on doing it, but they're not exactly sure what's going to look like at this point. So that's awesome.
Great.
Yeah. Sarbijit.
Yes.
Yes. Hi. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Dr. Sarjeet. I am doctor of medicine. Hello. You
Hello.
hearing?
We're here. Yep.
I am Dr. Sarjeet from Punjab, India. And I am running a nursing college also. We are already in the same line. And we educate the girls for the nanny education in old age care and child care also. And now we want your association also so that we can do the work jointly. At present, we are doing the same things which you are doing at our own. And we want affiliation with you also so that we can do it at a large scale. Understand?
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We can hear you. I can still hear you.
And presently, we have got a huge complex for this nursing programs. And in that, we have also two programs of nanny in old age care and child care. We are already giving the training in these two subjects, old care and child care. And we want association with you also so that we can explore the things internationally also, which we are doing at the local level.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And moreover, we are doctors also. We are in the same profession.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Kapil, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I am also from Punjab. Yeah, we are looking at this. We are running an educational institution and we are running at this opportunity of teaching nanny. So, hello to Sarabjit ji also.
Hello. How are you?
All fine. Sarabjit ji, where are you from?
I am from Ludhiana. From where you?
I am from Amritsar.
Okay, we must meet each other also so that we can do the things very nicely.
Yeah, definitely. So INA is, trying to meet two people sitting just 100 kilometers apart.
We are thankful to the Zoom meeting also, which introduced to me and to you also.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Carolyn, I know that I had called on you earlier and I didn't see you, so I just want to make sure I give you a good chance if you want to speak. Otherwise, so what we'll do, since we can't all talk at once, we are going to just open up the floor to ask some questions, and then those of us, the board members and me as staff.
Can I ask something? Can I ask?
Hang on just a second. Yep, I'm gonna actually, since Anna had asked about chapters, I will perhaps ask Cate if she can kind of talk about chapters real quick, and then I'll come right back to you. Sergeant, is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, Anna or Cate, would you kind of speak to Anna's question about chapters? Just kind of go maybe an overview of it real quick for people who aren't quite sure what it is, that are either on the call or will listen to it later, and then where you're at in the process.
Certainly. So INA chapters did exist a long time ago, and the board has voted to reinstate chapters in kind of a newer way, which also involved a change in the INA bylaws, which occurred at the May 2020 board meeting held virtually. The changes are all positive, and it just basically allows the chapters to exist through the ambassador program. So our ambassador team members will be considered the leaders of the chapter, because we have already a board of directors intact on a much larger level. Having several mini boards seems counterproductive and also a lot of work. So in order to streamline the communication process, we've decided to utilize the ambassador program and the ambassador program team members to lead the chapters in their local areas. The four current, or three, I should say, current ambassadors, Anna, Amanda, and Stacy, have been in the loop with the ideas of bringing chapters back. And since the program is still very new, there's going to be a lot of things that we unveil as the weeks progress here. So June 6th, if I'm not mistaken, Marcia, the ambassador's second round of applications close. We open them for 2 weeks, starting May 24th when we launched the video. Could have been May 23rd, but it was only fair because a change in the bylaws is a pretty big deal, and we want to make sure that everyone that is interested in applying for the program and participating in the new version of the program has the opportunity to do so. So if you haven't already applied and you are interested in applying, the program will, be intact as it is, but also move into leading a chapter locally. And while we are still sorting through what that's going to look like with COVID, we're not opposed to virtual chapter meetings, which would be similar to what we're doing right now, but they would just be in your local areas. So kind of the timeline that people can expect right now is this weekend, on Saturday, the program round 2 applications will officially close. Then for the new applicants, the currently applied members don't have to do anything, kind of just in a holding pattern really quick while we sort through the new wave of applications. So June 7th to 21st, the new applicants can expect to be reviewed and interviews conducted. It'll be a lot quicker than we normally do, just because we really want to get chapters launched this year. June 22nd to July 1st, the board is going to review the recommendations and make final approvals. And right before the 4th of July, which is our Independence Day here in America, July 2nd, we intend on notifying everyone. The great thing about the ambassador program is that we notify you either way. So you're never hanging in there, trying to figure out if you are going to participate or not. We will definitely contact you either way. And the email inaambassadorprogram@gmail.com works. And if you ever have questions, I'm pretty great with response time. If not, I am a working nanny. So sometimes during the day, I have a little bit of unavailable time where I really can't get to my phone. But, you know, we're hoping that chapters allow our organization to really support what nannies, agencies, business owners, newborn care specialists really need locally. You know, globally, we can't help on such a broad level with honing in on, you know, each city and each state and what people really need. So we're here to listen and we're here to support you, and we can't wait to start working with you.
Excellent. So since we're on this topic, does anybody have any questions specifically about chapters before we move on to a different topic? Let's make sure that we get all the questions on that answered. Anna, did you have any more specific questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
I was listening to Cate. Thank you so much, Cate.
You're welcome.
So far, no, I just need to think about it. And if I have any question, I think I can contact directly Cate,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, absolutely. I see Louise has a question. She has her hands up. Louise, what's your question?
I'm just unclear as to the history of how chapters worked in the past with INA. Can you expand upon what your vision is? Because Australians on the whole aren't great joiners, so I think it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not that I'm not enthusiastic, but explain how it worked well in the past, if you could, Cate, please.
Cate, you're on mute.
I can't hear you, Cate.
Oh, and you're not on mute. I'm not sure why we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually have no idea how chapters worked in the past. It was before I was a member.
I can speak to that afterwards a little bit. I've talked, I wasn't around either, but just in short, it was mostly within, domestically within the US, and they tried to do I believe an annual conference as well, which ended up so almost competing with the INA annual conference. And I think it was pretty short-lived. There were some larger groups, but the majority of them were smaller groups, and it sort of just like slowly fizzled out. That's basically that's my understanding of it. Again, I was not within the INA at that time, but that when I did some history searching, that's what I had found out. So just to speak to that, Cate, go ahead.
So what's your vision then, Cate? Leave aside that past history. What's your vision for the chapters or the INA?
So my vision, for the idea is that when chapters gather, you know, the content that we have at conference is essential, and we want to be able to bring that to our regional, you know, levels. And in order to do that, we felt chapters would be invaluable. So a lot of, I mean, theoretically, while this hasn't kicked off and we were unable to have a conference this year, the content, a chapter meeting would be run sort of like this. You come in and network, maybe some food and drink are offered, and then there's an educational component to the meeting. So talking about where the nanny industry is, there will be specific topics of discussion quarterly that are put out. So your chapter will, let's say in quarter 2 of this year, which would be, but let's say quarter 2 topic is baby wearing. And whatever topic we had at conference, this would be a secondary. So the INA and the ambassador program chairs will provide the content to the chapter, the educational component of it, and it's the chapter's discretion to kind of conduct that meeting and deliver that information in a way that is going to be best received by their audience. So, you know, there's going to be a video and you know, obviously we can't have our presenters speak live, because similar to a situation right now, and because our chapters would be allowed to conduct meetings at their leisure in a quarter time. We're starting out with 4 quarter meetings a year, so it's not too overwhelming for our ambassador team members, and it allows them time to plan. Not knowing how, you know, with COVID, how we'll be able to meet in person, or if, you know, we'll have to continue with virtual meetings. This just allows everyone to get the proper, you know, notices out and registrations. And registration for members is free. You know, I mean, there is going to be a platform that we provide where the your registrants can actually, you know, come on and see what they're joining up for. And you know, when they participate, it's about education, it's about awareness, it's about socializing and networking, which I feel like all of our communities really need. You know, especially in regards to the INA. And you know, the hope is that chapters will come, you know, at large to conference and, you know, represent their local areas as a group. And in the meantime, you know, like I just said, I mean, just raising awareness of, you know, what we're trying to do within the INA and, you know, expanding. Did I kind of answer your question?
Yes. Now, I assume that they will all need to be members
Of the INA.
So,
of the INA.
Yes and no. We are allowing, in the bylaws, we are allowing for 2 of the chapter meetings a year to be open. And they're more of like a social. So it's just kind of, you know, welcoming people that aren't members, you know, engaging, raising awareness, and kind of teaching them, you know, showing them, you know, this is what the INA is, this is what our chapter is, you know, and encouraging them to participate. Yeah, everybody needs a networking space.
Great idea. That is, I think that a bit like the APNA does with the masterminds. I could see that works, but I can't speak for India or Switzerland or the rest of the USA, but in Australia, we would have a hard time getting enough members together. But
can I speak?
Yes, Sergeant, you had raised your hand, so I was waiting for an opening. Go ahead and ask your question.
My question is this, have you got any plans to set up the programs in the India also?
So we do have 2 applicants from India at this time. So while we are
applicants for the ambassador program, correct?
Right.
No, myself is one of them.
You're one of them.
I don't have the current wave of applicants. That goes through the INA office. So the first wave of applicants, I did have 2. And like I said earlier, they are kind of in a holding pattern where they're waiting until we conduct this second round of interviews, you know, and then background checks will happen and then notifications. So, and the only way, I just want to make this known, the only way that INA chapters can occur in any specific area is if there's an ambassador that represents them. So you cannot just start a chapter and
have you got any representative already in India?
No, this is brand new, so we don't have any confirmed ambassadors anywhere.
You should
well, we have
in India also, because it's a very huge country and having so many population over here. You start here also. Why not so?
We have 3 people from India in this town hall itself. So
I didn't quite, you're breaking up a little bit.
You understand my question?
I missed it. There's 2 people talking.
Why don't you go ahead and talk first, and then Kapil, you can. I think that you're both trying to talk at the same time.
my question is this: you should start in India also and have a representation over here. You can send some of your delegation over in India, and we can receive the delegation. You see the things what you want to do, and you can do so many things in India also. Because here the same program is required over here also. You have a good idea, you have a good program, but you should involve India also.
And we are. Everything is, done through an application. So in your portal on the INA member website, you will find an application for the ambassador program. So if you're interested in potentially leading a chapter in your local area, we welcome you to apply, and you go through the same process.
We have got a good hospitals. We have a good old age homes. Also, we have already attached with our college and institution, and we have a child care system also, which is attached with us, and we are already doing the same things.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
I definitely encourage you, if you haven't already, like Cate said, we have several applications that haven't made it to the ambassador program yet. People have until June 7th to apply, so I'll be getting all of that information to her after that point.
Now you keep in touch with me regarding this representation in India also.
Sure,
okay?
and I think that you put your email address in the chat. Is that right?
My email ID is there. I received your invitation on my email ID. Already I have received your invitation.
Okay. Yeah, if you could add it to the chat just so that Cate can get to it too.
I just add my email ID.
Okay, great. Kapil, did you have any questions? I know that you were talking a minute ago. I want to make sure.
Now it's okay.
Yeah, I think you have replied to Sarabjitji's question quite well. He'll put his email ID. And I was just saying that we are 3 people attending from only one region from India, from Punjab. I am from Amritsar, Dr. Sarabjit is from Ludhiana, and Dr. HP Singh, he's from Chandigarh. So we are just around 200 kilometers apart. And it will be very nice if you can just think of starting a chapter from this part of India itself, from North India.
Yeah, we're excited to start chapters in a variety of different areas. And like I said earlier, I just want to reiterate, the only way that a chapter can exist is if somebody from your local area applies for the program. And the application is in your member portal. So you, if it's not you, maybe somebody that you know that is a member of the INA already would need to apply. And once the applications are in, we'll do our thorough screenings, and then we look forward to welcoming the new 2020 to 2022 ambassadors.
So the application is in your member portal. I can speak to the logistics of that. You go to nanny.org, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a thing that says log in. And if you're a member of the INA, you were given, you have an email address, and you decided on a password when you first became a member. So you log in there, and then you will go to forms in the login. The menu at the top will say forms, and it will say ambassador program application or something to that effect. And that is where you find the application for that. Okay, so we don't have a whole lot of time left. It's been really awesome to talk about this, but unless there's any more specific questions about the ambassador program, I'd love to open up the floor to any other questions about the INA that you guys might have. And we'll do the best to answer them. Any other questions?
Nice meeting all guys.
It was very nice to meet you too. Thank you for being on. If you don't have any questions, maybe Emily would want to just kind of talk about what she's working on as a new board member. She's been working on maybe the...
Anybody ever visited India? Anybody from you ever visited India?
Not recently, no. No.
From you all. Anybody visited India?
Excellent. Emily, why don't you go ahead and share what you'd like to share?
Hi, so I have started on the adventures of getting the INA exams translated into different languages. So far I've commitments from 7 different languages. And Danielle Bujnak is also helping me with this. So she's the brains behind the testing questions in English, and then I've been networking to get as many languages as possible to be translated. So if you have any questions about the exams or what it means, what kind of exams do we have, you can ask that to me. Go for it, Lauren.
Lauren, I see. Yep, go ahead.
What are the INA is very new to me, so I'm still learning. What are the exams, and have you, out of curiosity, had them put in Dutch?
I have some commitments for Dutch, thankfully, but I will be reaching out to you for more because I want 2 from each language. So we have commitments from, and Louise just asked which languages. We have Afrikaans, we have Dutch, French, German. Oh goodness. We've got 7 different ones that I know of. It's just really early in the morning for me at this moment. But we do have commitments from
Spanish.
7. Spanish. Yes.
I want to say, you said French.
French.
Trying to remember
German.
our conversations, Emily.
Portuguese.
Thanks, Louise.
Portuguese was one of them, I believe.
Yes. Tachi has already been doing that one. She did that before I ever came on, so that was the first one to be done, quite honestly. And then we have the basic skills exam in NCS for the newborns and for the nanny, and then we have the advanced. So there's two exams for each track, newborn and nanny.
Louise says you are excused for being so early.
Thank you. Thank you. Lovely pajamas here, I know.
We all have a whole new appreciation for all of the times Louise was on the call with us at 4 a.m. when she was on the board.
I feel you, Louise. My boyfriend's British, so I have to deal with time zones, quite honestly, but normally I don't have to care about how I look, you know? And I was like, 5 minutes till video? Sorry, not doing anything.
Excellent. Any other questions about the translating? Those are our exams and assessments, our basic skills assessments that we have. And those, for those of you that don't know, the basic skills assessment we've got a nanny assessment and an NCS, newborn care specialist assessment. Those are for, they're mainly for agencies to help evaluate their caregivers. So they're basic questions about being a nanny or being an NCS. I like to call it, those are the things that I want any of my caregivers in my home with my kids to know before they take care of my kids and I leave. And then we've got the credential exams, both, again, the nanny and the NCS. She'll be working on those, and I think that you're starting with unless it's changed, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're starting with the nanny basic skills assessment. Going to translate
We've changed that.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that I said that. No, that's okay.
I'm glad you asked. I actually was on a phone call with Danielle, and she's redoing those exams, and she's making them even more international for the English-speaking nations. So, for instance, for London and Australia, there's the essay question will be removed, and there will be multi-choice questions, and it will be more international to where you can be like, oh, you know, I know this. It's not going to be something that's just localized to America. Every question is going to be rethought, rewritten, reevaluated. So we're going to start out with the NCS because that's already been done.
So you're starting out translating the NCS credential exam.
Yes.
Excellent.
The NCS exams will be done first.
Okay,
and
both the basic skills assessment and the credential exam of the NCS.
Those will both be done first before the nanny exam because they're having to be redone for English.
Excellent.
So
well, that's great.
Lots of work going on.
Yeah. Okay, so any other questions about the INA at all? We've talked about chapters, we've talked about the exams and assessments.
And is there any play where it is placed your syllabus, your all subjects, all the education regarding the nanny? Is there any site where it is available?
Nanny.org is our website that has everything on it. Under resources, you'll find all the information for our exams and our assessments, as well as our recommended practices.
Can you write it on the message?
I will, absolutely. I'll put it in the chat. Yep.
Indian Nanny Association.
Yeah, so nanny.org is where all of our information is housed. We have a separate website for our conference, but you can actually get to it from nanny.org as well.
Regarding subjects and exams, regarding all the subjects, exams, assessment, everything is available on this site?
It is, yes. If you're looking for the exams and assessments, you'll go under resources, and there'll be a bit of a drop-down menu, and it's broken up into resources for nannies, resources for newborn care specialists, for agencies. We have resources for families that employ educators, so everything is on there. Yep. We have information about our annual conference on there, about how to become a member. We have information about what, our vision and mission is and has been for 35 years. All of that information can be found on there. And if you ever have questions that you can't find something, or, that something isn't clear, you can always email us.
Regarding the membership, we don't want to membership individually. We want to put our college and institute in your, with you, our college and the institution, so that we can get the membership for our college, not individually.
Okay, so you would be looking for a education membership.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in medical line also. Moreover, that is much more beneficial for the nannies.
Sure. So yeah, you'll look under, there's a heading membership, and you can talk about how to become, it talks about how to become a member and what the benefits are, walks you through it underneath that heading. There's also like a big orange thing on the website that says become a member. You can just click on that. It goes right to it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions out there?
I have.
I see Laura, why don't you go ahead? What's your question?
Back one quick thing. Back to the exams. To do the exams, they would need to be a member of the INA.
Nope.
Right? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. Members get a discount on the exams and the assessments, but you do not have to be a member to take them.
Okay, because that would be great to know. This is all very new to me, so I didn't know for my nannies to do. So then my next question is, the nanny industry in Amsterdam, the nanny culture is really growing, and it's slowly exploding due to the amount of expats companies being transferred here, especially after Brexit's obviously in the middle of happening, and the industry is very misunderstood, and it can be quite isolating to be a nanny here, and I'm desperately trying to change that. But the nannies here don't know anything about the INA. They don't know that there is this organisation. If they've come from the UK, there's a few things in the UK, but they don't know there's anything here. So is there a way for, and I'll be happy to help, to get the INA more exposure here, so that the nannies have, they know they have me, but those that aren't registered with my agency, they're always welcome to contact me. But I just would love to help the community grow here and then get more support. We have a huge amount of issues, as everyone else does worldwide, with nannies being mistreated and underpaid, and there's no, and I'd love to do something to change that, but there's not many. I'm one of the few nanny agencies here, so I sort of feel I could do with some help in helping to provide the nannies with more support and more access to support.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what the ambassador program is for.
Yeah.
This is where, so I encourage you to go in your portal and apply for the program, because this is much like Anna's area. You know, I've never been to Switzerland. I hope to go one day. I have no idea what the working environment for a nanny is like in Switzerland, or what agencies are like there. So I can't learn more about that unless we have ambassadors in the local area bringing it to our attention. And you're right, there's issues and great things and, you know, a variety of things happening in so many different areas, but we need access to that information to help try and make a difference. So, I also want to point out that the ambassador program is, applications are open to agencies, to nannies, to newborn care specialists. If you are a member of the INA, you are eligible. The only people that are ineligible are board members. So I welcome you to apply for the program, and we hope that, you know, we can absolutely bring some awareness and education to your local area.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Go on, Louise.
Wasn't me.
I was me.
Oh, Anna, go ahead.
Can I, because more or less, because I am ambassador and I have a nanny group in Facebook, I find this question very interesting, because also I feel that I just copy paste information. I mean, I think it would be really wonderful if the INA created material for Facebook groups. I think also from Amsterdam, that would be interesting for them, but not just to copy paste from the public page from the INA. I mean, because then it's easy, we just copy paste. And there is also some information that we do not know sometimes if we are allowed to share or if we are allowed to talk about. So Cate, I don't know if this is also one of the plan, but well, for me as a member and an ambassador, I think new material, just, you know, specific for Facebook groups, it would be nice, or I mean, interesting to give information about the INA.
So all of our information that's on our public website at nanny.org is available to be shared throughout the public. Anything that's in your member portal is private for members only, which is part of your membership benefits. The ambassador program, all of our ambassador meetings, with the exception of 2, will be privately held for members. Once again, it's part of being a member. It's part of one of your benefits to have access to these wonderful groups. But 2 meetings a year, there will be content delivered and social atmospheres and networking where the outside public can join. So Anna, you know, and Lauren, this would be a great opportunity for people who aren't INA members, but intrigued about it. And like I said earlier, we will be providing the content that you need to properly conduct your meetings. And then it's up to you in your local area as an ambassador to decide how you're going to deliver to meet your audience's needs.
So it's also
Does that answer your question?
thing. Sorry.
Say that again, Louise.
So it's also a two-way thing. We will be educating the rest of the INA about how things work in Switzerland and Amsterdam and India and Australia. And
well, not in your local area. So the, wherever your local area is, you'll be conducting, we're not going to share information about other chapters until we can learn more about what everyone needs.
I just meant generally.
To the board.
Yeah.
So I think Louise is saying that the ambassadors, the chapters, will be sharing information essentially, Cate, with you, and you'll be sharing of the, you know, of Australia. Yeah. Yes. And that you'll be sharing that with the board and saying, hey, these are some areas that we could support this area better. Absolutely. You know, and giving suggestions to the board for that. Yeah.
Absolutely, which is why we, you know, with the way that we brought chapters back, everyone reporting to the ambassador program chairs allows for us to create, you know, a giant document and present it to the board. So everything is organized in one place, as opposed to, you know, let's say there's 5 different chapters happening. If the chapters are sending in constant information, it's another full-time job for somebody to respond and, you know, coordinate response, or not responses, you know, just coordinate how we're going to support moving forward. So if it all comes to one area, then we have this great, you know, unified document that's going to go straight to the board, you know, and everything is in one place.
I think another thing to remember about Europe and specifically is that it's a huge au pair world. And that's why it's not taken as seriously. I've been to Amsterdam and met quite a few of Lauren's nannies, and they're so sweet and getting to know, but they don't even know the basics of the industry. And it's very hard to compare the au pair world to the nanny world. You know, you're on a completely different level. You're protected by different laws and different wages for a cultural experience. And that's why, like in Belgium and Amsterdam, these people are like, oh, your room and board is free on these Facebook groups, and we'll feed you if you'll work 20 hours a week for free, you know, and that's very common. So I think that's some of the misconceptions people are having about having nannies in Europe, and Louise can speak to Australia, you know, versus a nanny.
Cheap childcare, I call it.
Yes.
I also noticed this here in Switzerland. There is also a lot of, because Switzerland is a very attractive country for young girls to come, try to as au pair, any kind of job, cleaning, nanny, all kinds of English speaking jobs. Switzerland is a very attractive country, but at the same time, they don't want to commit because also it's an expensive country. So if you spend your money, you know, traveling here and traveling there, then you cannot support yourself here in Switzerland. So there's a lot of coming in and going out, and I don't see many really interested in, you know, in committing in something. It's very rare the nannies who want to give their face, who wants to commit with programs, who want to stay, who are credible, you know, who really have families who are working. So yeah, I mean, I think this INA association can be a great help to make nannies understand the importance of their roles also in the countries where they are working, and support the countries where they are working. I'm not Swiss, I'm Portuguese, but I understand, I love my profession, and I understand that I can be the vehicle for the INA to be known in Switzerland. So, you know, that's it. Sorry.
Anna, I actually wanted to just make sure that those who are listening to the recording get this information too, because Sujit has asked a question on the chat, and it was a good question. I wanted to make sure got out there. He asked regarding the basic skills assessment and the credential exam, you know, who conducts that, who issues the certificates, and the INA conducts it. We both our basic skills assessment and our credential exam are done virtually through different platforms that we have contracted with. They're both done differently. The basic skills assessment is just a 40 question timed multiple choice, and it's quite easy, but our credential exams, we require a proctor. So we have contracted with a company that virtually proctors it. So again, all of that information is on our website at nanny.org. Under resources, you can look for that. And again, if you ever have questions about it, member services at nanny.org is is going to get you the best, quickest answers. Rachel, before we kind of close up, I know we've got a couple minutes. You've been here and you've been up in the middle of the night, and I just want to make sure that you get to share any information. Rachel is our secretary, or no, Yep, she is our secretary now. You've switched roles recently within the executive board. So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything else that you wanted to add, that you know, to elaborate on.
Sure. I think that it's important to remember, and this goes to kind of what Lauren was saying, that the INA had planned to be in Europe this year. We had tickets booked and space rented to host a European summit to try to bring together more of the European community and to sort of advertise INA a little bit better within Europe. Unfortunately, that was planned for the end of March, and we had to cancel it as the entire event and expo was canceled. And if we can get back, I'm sure we're going to make every effort to do so. As the rest of the world is going through this, we have no idea when that will be, and it will likely be for at least a year probably, as that's just how the travel industry is going and how the conference industry is going right now. So I do understand that when you are in an area that this is a new profession, or you're trying to legitimize and professionalize nannying, that it can be really hard. You probably feel like you're trying to work from the ground up and trying to build something that doesn't really exist. So I can empathize with that as much as I can. I think Kate's right that if you can start a chapter where you are, that's probably a great idea, because it would build community. People would have an event to go to regularly to meet with some of their friends. You know, you can possibly advertise it as, if you keep coming, it's likely that you can charge a higher rate because you'll have more knowledge. And for me, for the nannies that I talk to, even here in the United States, when I'm talking about the INA and when I'm talking about professional development, that's one of the things that sort of triggers people to be interested is, you know, if I can make a higher wage by learning more, by taking these exams, by being a part of an organization and building my network, that's one of the easiest sort of pulls for me, is that you'll be much more fulfilled in your career. You'll have a bigger network in case something, you know, does happen. You'll likely make more money at some point. And so I understand building it from the ground up is got to be really hard, but what Cate has built here within the chapter program, I think hopefully will help build our global network and our international membership. And I know that she's been great to work with for our current international ambassador, and just will work with whoever gets to be the next ambassadors, and therefore the ambassadors will be the people who lead these chapters. So if you're interested at all, I would fill out the application. I know Kate's email is always open, and so that's what I would do. Again, we really hope to build international membership in the next couple of years, but we definitely need to understand the international market to do that. It's hard to understand the international market when you're not living in it. So we appreciate all the input that we get.
Excellent. Well, you guys, it is a little bit after 5 a.m. for me. And so we've been here for an hour. I've enjoyed this immensely. And I don't know, I feel like I can speak for Cate and Rachael and Emily as well. Thank you guys for being on here and asking questions and getting to know us a little bit. I'm excited about the future, about both with the exams that we talked about and with the ambassador program and the chapters. As always, you can ask questions of us anytime at member services at nanny.org. If you're a member, using our member Facebook page or Facebook group is a really great way to get questions answered. If you're not a member, you can ask a question on Facebook or email us. We try to be as responsive as we can. I know board members are all volunteers, so they try to respond as quickly as they can, but we and the staff can answer as many questions as possible. Yeah, so thank you again so much. Again, the recording will be up And we'll be putting it on our main Facebook page, so that if you are listening to this later on and if you have questions that we didn't answer here, we encourage you to respond under that post with questions and that kind of stuff, and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. But we're going to do some more of these. I like this format. I hope you guys did too. It was really great to be able to see people's faces and respond, with voice instead of typing things out. So anyways, thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend, and stay safe and healthy, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.